I am here with Jay Slade. Hi, Jay. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. I'm good. Bright sunny day.
I was going to say, beautiful day, right?
Take it.
So, thank you so much for agreeing to do this, to meet with me, to talk about, special education in our district and your role as a Board of Ed member in how it relates to special education. Um, so I sent each of the candidates a few questions. So I wanted to kind of go through the first question, which is, when you hear terms like inclusion, diversity, and equity, how do you believe that students with disabilities fit into these principles in our district? And as a Board of Education member, how will you advocate for true inclusion and equity for all students?
Great question. Um, I feel like our students with disabilities, they do have an active presence in our school district. Um, I think a great example of that I've seen since being on the board is all the special programs and courses that are made available, like the ShopRite program, the peer leadership program, that transition planning program, which I think is great, Project Unify. So just seeing that those programs are accessible gives me confidence that they do have presence. The second part of that question, my plan to advocate for that would be to always have our partners, you guys, CPAG, SEPTA, at the Board of Ed table. I'm always going to be that squeaky wheel to the administration, just for the importance for their support. So anytime I get emails, and I'm quickly to relay. I know you guys can get your
Yeah.
message across, but it doesn't hurt for us to nudge them to get support for you guys. But to put money where my mouth is, I will proudly say that while I was on the board for these last three years, I did vote to support policy 5756. I thought to me, I felt that strong that all students need a form of representation from our district to support them. And if
Mhm.
I get reelected, I plan to revisit to bring that policy back, hopefully.
Great, great. And I would think that when you, ran and got on the board, how has your knowledge of special education changed since in the last, almost three years that you've been on the board?
Well, you would definitely know firsthand when I first got, even when I campaigned and first got on, I was afraid, because I didn't have any knowledge at all. I didn't have any experience with any child with special needs, children with disabilities,
Yeah.
acronyms that were out there. But and as I've told and I've made it very public, I'm very present in the district. I do a lot of school visits, and that really gave me a hands-on approach to some of the struggles that the district has and the students have, but also the support, and even through negotiations. I know the paras were a big part of the conversation through negotiations, and I've seen what they were dealing with on the one-on-ones and the self-contained rooms. These are all the things that I've never knew about, and I wasn't going to just take outside verbiage of it. So I went to the schools and saw it. So my level of respect for the paras are incredible. Parents, that just hands down, what they have to deal with, and the struggles that the students have. But I do want to compliment the district. I think they do a great job. What I've seen so far. I was
Mhm.
at the transition room at the GNC Center, and they were just still building it. And I just saw a few, students come in like they were in Disneyland,
Yeah.
like so happy and just, and you can even see the compassion in the teachers and the paras. They're into, they're not just doing it for a paycheck, and the love that they have. So I just think the whole family out there is great. But I have
Awesome.
a lot of respect for the people that I knew nothing of
Yeah,
previous.
absolutely. Good. Um, So that, part of the work that we do as a CPAG, as a parent group in our district, is to review the policies. We get our policies that come down from essentially from the state, and policies that we are in, our board has to review and push through, approve, not approve, whatever. So how do we work as a CPAG? How how do you plan to approach decision making on policies and programs and really those policies that impact students with disabilities in your role as a Board of Ed member?
I, I mean, my decision making is probably it's not probably, it will stay consistent as it's been over the last 3 years, and that's again seeing things for myself, during my school tours, my one-on-one conversations with teachers, paras, principals. Um, but on top of my list, which I've advocated in the past, is going to be our special service committee meetings. I think that's a great intimate setting. I've said it at board meetings. I think I might have mentioned at candidates night. Um, it's an intimate setting where all voices can be heard. So if a policy has to be updated, we're going to hear it from concerned parents. We're going to hear it from you guys. So I'm a huge advocate of those of committee meetings, and obviously the special service committee meeting as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that. We had the other night was a combined curriculum and special services meeting, and there was really good information that they share at the meeting. So I hear what you're saying, and I do think committee meetings give you an opportunity for the community members to be heard as you say, in a smaller, more intimate forum. So. Um, we talk about the diversity of families in our district. Old Bridge is a very diverse district, and no two families look alike, right? So how will you make space to hear and respect the viewpoints of the families in our community?
I mean, it sounds cliche-ish, but my door is always open. I'm not that I have a Board of Ed office, but my door is always open in the form of an email or, one-on-one conversations or stopping me if somebody sees me. Just as I was 3 years ago, I'll continue to be a sponge for information. And I think you and I shared that early, 3 years ago. I was picking your brain just for the acronyms that I have. But I look forward to attending CPAG meetings. I mean, whether they're on Zoom, the SEPTA meetings as well, because you guys are just a huge resource of information. Dr. Tui attends, and he gives his, shtick. But you guys are in the heart of it. I mean, I have in the past, and I continue to force. I'm going to want to force that podium at the Board of Ed meetings, just to give people the courage to get up there and speak about it. And we talk about the committee meetings, that sometimes we don't get a big audience. But I would like that podium at the Board of Ed meetings to be like a safe space.
Yeah.
For parents, just to share even good and bad. And unfortunately, there's always that cliche statement that only people who complain come to board meetings, and complain not working. But it'd be great if that podium could be used. And I've tried, over the last year at least, to get that podium.
Yeah.
And I'd want to continue that, to make sure that people feel comfortable enough to share what we need to know.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that ties into my next question, which is how will you create a safe and collaborative environment? Right now, the Board of Ed, we have, 9 seats, 9 different personalities. And how will you, or what will you do to try to ensure the collaborative environment in what can be at times a contentious and divisive board, or sometimes contentious meetings?
You started the conversation pretty accurately. You have 9 different personalities, regardless of their views, 9 different personalities. And it would be great if we can go to a retreat somewhere and refresh and, eat berries and be friendly with another, and it's probably not realistic. What I would like to push for is having our, say, personal grievances like pushed aside to even like executive sessions. I don't think the public needs to see. Some people are advocates that, that infamous word transparency. Some people are they love to say, let the world see what we are and who we are. I get it. But when it gets controversial and it gets disruptive, and then the refocus, and then we're not even focused on the topics at hand. It's more of a pissing contest against each other, and it's not good. So I'd like to make references to have any grievances, anything. Let's duke it out in executive session, because it's going to be hard to win. We're all adults, and it's going to be hard to tell another adult, don't you act that way. Um, but I'd like to lead by example. And I think if I can, maybe it could be a little bit of a contagious behavior, and it could rub off on other people. I think niceness could rub off. It can be a little contagious, hopefully. So that would be my game plan.
Good. So as a candidate that is running for reelection, why are you seeking reelection? What is it about the fact that you've been in this role for a few years now that makes you want to extend that out another 3 years?
Well, I wish my wife was here to hear this, because she's like, what are you doing? I'll be honest with this stuff. I like where I am now. I like the place that I am. I mentioned in the candidates night, I enjoy the heck out of it. I'm having a lot of fun. I met a lot of great people. And the fact that I was very quiet early on. I was a sponge. I wanted to absorb. I wanted to learn. I didn't want to speak out of turn. But I'm more educated today now than I was 3 years ago. So I'd like to use all that good knowledge that I've retained, and continue that hopefully for the next 3 years. I mean, I still got my girls, are in the system, 1 in 6th and 1 in 8th. So while they're still in school and they're my good little spies that tell me what's going on, that can help me, I want to continue it. I think I've opened up a nice dialogue with the administration, and they've educated me. I mean, those are the educators. Shame on me or any board member that think that we could do it better than them. Our job is to manage the process. We don't execute the process. So I just think the knowledge that I've gained over the last 3 years could be advantageous to the district and the board moving forward.
Good. And is there anything, if reelected to the board in January, in November, if you win, is there anything that you would do differently in this second term compared to your first term?
Oof. Well, I think obviously if I get reelected, I come out of the gate running. In the beginning, when I ran 3 years ago, clueless, just my passion is what got me motivated to get onto the board. I mean, depending on who gets onto the board with me, if I did get reelected, is just try to gently relay that message to them, is that it's okay not to know, and take me for an example. Early on, everyone has a label, everyone was portrayed, but I took the time to evolve, listen, learn, and I made my voting decisions based on the information that I gained. So I would try to, especially if there were new board members that got on with me, is just say, hey, just try to use me as an example of where I was and where I am and how I conduct myself. It's okay to be wrong when you're campaigning for something. It's okay to be wrong, to go in a certain direction. But I've learned early on that once I started speaking and listening to these guys, they get it. They get it. It's just, you have to try to check your ego and realize it's okay to know that someone else is running the ship well, and it's okay to compliment when people are doing well. And I think we've lost that. A lot of finger pointing. A lot of people come on and try to have that fix it button. But we got a great district. We've got a lot of great accomplishments. It's okay to say that we're doing a great job. So I'll continue that.
And I think that when you ran 3 years ago, it was a probably a different type of campaign than you're running now.
Yes.
So was there something in particular in these past 3 years was there a particular instance or action or policy or something that was the thing that made you stop and think, I need to change my approach here?
Yes. So my first, I guess the biggest switch is me actually seeing it for myself. I mean, I take pride in this. Some of my former board members over the years want to argue this, but I feel as if I pioneered getting board members into the school. I was told by teachers and principals when I visit, it never happened, you
Mhm.
know. And when I would come into schools, and then we started coming with a little bigger group, it was like they were so proud of their environment and so proud of their accomplishments, and I could not, Steph, I could not get over how excited these people were to see the board members. I figured, all right, board members make policies, we vote, but we came out to these things. It was like Moses walking into these doors, and they were so proud. So, um, I think that's a key aspect of a board member now. I mean, I'm proud that I initiated that, but I'm glad it's continuing because a lot of board members are doing it now. Is you have to see it. I know there was a demography report that went out talking about statistics of the schools and the crowdingness in the schools, and you got to see it. You got to see the pain on some teachers' faces and the pleasure on some
Right.
teachers. Well, so and quite frankly, I threw and I continue to throw a lot of curveballs at the administration. And one thing that won me over with Mr. Cittadino, and even early on, even before I got on, they invited me to check on the audits of the district. And just the fact that every curveball I throw at the administration, they come back to me with an educated response and an answer. Some of them off the cuff, some of them through some research, but they know the education business. And I now have a full level of trust and confidence in the administration, which I think that's gone away. I think people just there's no trust. They don't trust them. They think there's like a hidden room somewhere where they're making decisions, but they do have the best interest for our students, all the students, all.
Mhm.
And I admire that. So that's what brought me down to this level of not being a conspiracy theorist and actually trusting the people that are helping our students.
Good. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to answer the questions, and I think that this is important information to give to the families of the children in our district, of children with disabilities, or just children that are going through stuff. And I think having the families know and have a better understanding of the candidates in this forum, I think, is important. So I thank you so much for your time, Jay.
Anytime. I like I said, I'm enjoying this, and I even feel better now. I remember 3 years ago, I think we were invited to this, and I might have had a conflict,
You
scheduling
might have
conflict.
had a conflict.
I did, but now I even telling my wife this morning that I had this. Like I feel so comfortable now. I feel like I can have these conversations, a confidently and still be willing to listen and learn. So definitely in a better place now than it was 3 years ago.
Okay, good. Well, thank you so much for your time, Jay.
Thank you.
Take care.